What in the hell are you doing to my land? Stop this right now! It's all perfectly legal, Mr. Johnson. We notified you weeks ago. This is county approved. To the cooperative.
It's beautiful, Dad.
Cheers, everyone! The documentation is clear on this matter. The proposed zoning changes violate the original agreement.
This is absolutely unacceptable.
She pulled up at 6 in the morning with a full construction crew behind her. I heard the diesel engines before I saw the lights. By the time I got my boots on and walked out, they were already carving a trench 4 feet deep through the center of my best pasture. My cattle had bolted to the far corner of the property. The natural spring my grandfather had relied on since 1952 was running brown and muddy from the churned earth. Mona Hales stood at the edge of the trench in workout clothes that cost more than my monthly feed bill, holding a stack of documents thick enough to stop a bullet. Your little cow pasture doesn't get to hold up progress for 847 families, she said, flicking the papers at me. We have all the legal authority we need. My name is Cole Harrison. I took over 40 acres of Colorado ranch land from my grandfather in 2019, rolling fields, a natural spring that had been running since before Colorado became a state. 50 head of cattle and enough quiet at night that you could hear coyotes singing across the ridge. My grandfather bought this place in 1952 for $800 and a handshake. He left it to me with one instruction: take care of it. Mona Hales and her husband Darren had been circling this land for 2 years. Darren owned the development company that built Whispering Pines Estates, the luxury subdivision that had swallowed the farmland on 3 sides of my property. Mona had made herself HOA president and spent those 2 years filing noise complaints, zoning disputes, and letters on expensive letterhead-threatening lawsuits over the angle of my parked truck. But this was different. This was construction equipment on my land at sunrise. I called an attorney and filed an emergency injunction that afternoon. The hearing was 3 weeks away. In the meantime, the crew kept digging. That evening, my daughter Leia, 16 and sharper than anyone gives her credit for, was working on a civics project about water rights when she looked up from her laptop and said something that stopped me cold. Dad, if they permanently reduce pressure in our spring, the ranch can't support cattle anymore. She was right. Without reliable water, the herd would have to go. Without the herd, the land becomes hobby acreage I could never afford to maintain. She came to the doorway later that night while I was on the phone with the attorney. Are we going to lose the ranch? She asked softly. The look on her face nearly broke me. I spent the next 2 weeks buried in my grandfather's old paperwork, mineral surveys, water claims, documents going back decades that I had never fully read. And late one night I found something that made my hands go cold. My grandfather's water rights did not just cover our spring. A geological survey from 1962 confirmed that his senior rights extended to the entire underground aquifer feeding the region. Every house in Whispering Pines, every pool, every lawn, every shower. All of it ran on water my grandfather had claimed first under Colorado water law. Senior rights win every time, first in time, first in right. I also found what Darren had been hiding. He had sold permanent unlimited water access to 847 families as a premium feature. But buried in the fine print, those rights were temporary contracts expiring in 18 months. When they did, he would owe the county $4.2 million, and 60% of the subdivision's summer water came directly from my spring. He didn't need my land because of the pasture. He needed it because without my water, his entire empire collapsed. Then the trail cameras caught his crew at 3 in the morning dumping chemicals into my livestock tanks. Not enough to kill, just enough to make the cattle sick and manufacture a contamination excuse to seize the property. The texts on the crew foreman's phone said make it look natural. Both men were arrested. Darren was facing federal environmental charges by the end of the week. At the county town hall, Leia had set up a live stream for 15,000 people watching online when I stood at the microphone and laid it all out. The illegal pipeline, the forged permits, the poisoned water tanks, and the senior water rights my grandfather had held since before most of the people in that room were born. Mona stood up and called it extortion. Deputies put her in handcuffs before she finished the sentence. I raised my hand to quiet the room. I'm not shutting off water to families who were lied to the same way I was, I said. I'm proposing a community water cooperative. Rates drop. Reliability goes up. Control moves from a corrupt developer to the people who actually live here. 847 families voted yes by nearly 90%. Darren received 12 years in federal prison. The illegal pipeline was removed. The spring was placed under permanent conservation protection. Laia hugged me so hard in that gym that I couldn't breathe. She had said it weeks earlier when I was ready to fight fire with fire. "Dad," she told me, "we can't fight monsters by becoming monsters." She was right then. She is right now. My grandfather left me 40 acres and a spring and a handshake deal's worth of dignity. Turns out that was more than enough.